Mm-hmm.
Hello, is it Natalie?
Hi, how are you?
Hello, good Natalie. I've just got a
Hang on,
couple more
just
people
can't
that I
hear
think
your
are wanting to
profile.
join us. I'll be with you in 2 seconds. I'm Karen, so welcome. Let's
Thank
just see
you.
who else I've got here. Natalie. Yes, I've got Natalie. Right, okay. Right. It starts off a bit interesting sometimes, this Natalie, so sometimes I find there's a few people here at the start, sometimes it's people just join us as the evening goes on. So just tell me a bit about yourself and your baby.
Okay, so I have a 2-year-old on Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
and a 5-month-old on Sunday.
Okay, and the 2-year-old is a
Both
boy or a
girls.
girl?
Both girls.
Sorry? Both boys. Okay.
Both girls.
Both girls. Okay, and how's it
Yes.
going?
Yeah, good. Better.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um,
Okay.
5-month-old is tricky with sleep.
Okay.
Um, yeah, she's so 2-year-old was sleeping through at like 8 weeks, like literally through from seven
Mm-hmm.
till seven.
Yeah.
And um, 5-month-old, no, she started sleeping through really well, and then she decided
Mm-hmm.
that crawling and rolling is way more fun. Well, attempting to crawl.
Right.
So
Okay.
I can be up sometimes 3 times a night, and it's
Wow.
getting very
Hard.
tiring. Yeah.
Yeah. Does she sleep in her own cot, in her own room, or is
She's
she in
in
with you,
her own
Natalie?
cot, in her own room.
Yeah.
So we did that at around 3 months,
Yeah.
when she started sleeping through, and that
Yeah.
was fine. She was still sleeping through in her own room in her cot.
Yeah.
Um, so it wasn't the transition that stuffed her up in any way.
Yeah.
I honestly just think it's the fact that it was that sort of 4-month sleep
Yeah.
regression where,
Yeah.
she learnt to roll or was
Mm-hmm.
attempting to learn to roll, and that's what kept waking her. And now it's
Right.
just kind of stuck, or maybe she's still learning. She looks like she's ready to start crawling any day now.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, it's just getting a bit tricky. She,
Okay.
I'm
Tell me
lucky if
what
I get 40-minute naps out of her during the
in the
day.
day. Okay.
Mm.
Tell me how you put it down to sleep, Natalie. What you're doing with it? How you putting it down in the cot?
We have a little cuddle,
Yeah.
for like a minute or two, and
Mm.
then she goes down, and she can fuss a little bit. Not, she doesn't cry
Yeah.
hysterically or anything. She just has a little bit of a whinge, and
Mm.
then she rolls around and around and around and around and around,
Yeah.
um, and then she falls asleep. It usually takes no longer than 5 minutes for her
So she's
to
going
fall
down,
into
awake,
comfy sleep.
awake in the cot, and putting herself off to sleep. So there's no
Yes.
patting, no rocking, nothing's happening.
No, not anymore. It was
Okay.
happening.
Yeah.
So at 4 months, I think about a week after she turned 4 months, she was taking an hour and a half to get into bed
Yeah.
and to
Yeah.
sleep for like 10 or 15 minutes. And I was exhausted, obviously had so much guilt for the 2-year-old, never spending any time with her.
Yeah.
Um, and I said that was enough. She needed to learn to settle herself because we
Mhm.
were all just on high alert, and it wasn't healthy really
Yeah.
for any of us.
Yeah.
And my husband would come home and I'd get cranky at him for no reason. And yeah, so I
Yeah.
said to myself one day, you know what? I'm giving myself 20 minutes. If she doesn't settle in 20 minutes, I'll go in.
Yeah.
And she settled in 17 minutes.
Yeah.
And ever that's been the longest she's ever taken to fuss and
Mhm.
settle.
That's pretty good.
Usually she only fusses for about 4 or 5 minutes. So,
Okay.
and if
Does she
she
have a
ever
dummy at all,
escalates more
Natalie?
than a fuss, I'll go in and give her a cuddle and put her back down.
Yeah. Yeah. Does she have a dummy or anything else to help with
No,
sleep?
she's never taken a dummy. I'm trying to not give her a comforter,
Yeah.
um, just so she can sleep wherever. and
Yeah.
if we lose it, it's not a problem.
Yeah.
Actually, I put a white noise app on, but I turn
Mhm.
it off when I go to bed at night. She sleeps with it during the
Okay.
day.
They're not major sleep association things. So, I mean, unless I actually met your little girl, I'm not really sure what is causing the short sleeps. But what's her mood like in the day, Natalie? Is she cranky towards the end of the day?
Most of the time, yeah. I think,
Yeah.
and I put it down to her not getting good,
Yeah.
sufficient sleep during the day because she's only doing 40 minutes max.
Yeah. Is she
Sometimes
gaining
it can be
weight and
20.
thriving?
Yeah, she's
Yeah.
gaining a lot more weight than what her sister did, that's for sure.
Yeah. And she's on solids and.
Yeah, she's not a huge fan of solids,
Yeah.
but she does have some every day.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's really
But
hard
I
to
also remember
know what's
to
happening
log
here, Natalie.
things low. Sorry.
It's really hard for me to work out why she's only having short sleeps. It's a bit of a mystery.
Yeah,
Um,
I know.
but if she's going down awake in the cot, letting herself settle, and she's thriving and gaining weight and everything, and is she in a grow bag? Is she hands free?
She was in a Love to Dream,
Mhm.
and then when she started showing signs of being ready to roll, I started just wrapping her in the Muslim cloths again.
Right. Okay.
Muslim cloths, sorry, and then once she started rolling, I looked into getting her a grow bag, and it got really hot. So we're in Sydney also, and it got really hot over the last week, basically. So for her day sleeps, I thought, you know what, I'm just going to try putting her in nothing.
Yep.
And it worked, and now she's in nothing.
But she's still only sleeping 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay.
That hasn't changed anything. And
I think
actually, since
whereabouts do you live, Natalie?
In Marrickville.
Okay. I work at a pharmacy in Bondi on a Wednesday. I could have a look at her. You could bring her over if you wanted. I'm there from 10 till 1. So I could just look at her development. I could look at her weight and everything, and just see where she's in her centile charts and stuff. I think unless I was in your home seeing how she went to sleep, I think I'd struggle to work this one out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure.
But it's very rare that I can't work out what it is when I meet these children.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you been sent to find me by somebody?
A friend of mine, Rachel Crether.
Yes. Yeah. I know Rachel very well. I went to see her friend Gabrielle on Monday.
Okay.
And already her friend is having some amazing sleeps with her baby.
Oh,
so I just know stuff, Natalie, as to how to sort things out. And like I said, unless I actually saw her and was in your home, I wouldn't know what is happening here.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
I was going to say, when you asked about the sleeping in a grow bag or anything like that, ever since I took her out of the sleeping bag, of anything, she's maybe about 4 or 5 out of 7 days at lunchtime will sleep for at least an hour.
Right.
The other day she did 2 hours and 40 minutes at lunchtime.
Okay.
But every other nap is only 40 minutes, so I know she can push herself.
But if she's having one long sleep a day, that's enough.
No, she'll go crazy.
Does she?
She'll go
nuts.
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, the other 2 sleeps, are they 40 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah. So she does one long one of 2 hours, and then she does 2 40 minutes.
Yeah, but it's not always 2 hours at 40 minutes at lunchtime. Like today, it was only, she did 4 naps that were between 30 and 40 minutes each of them.
Right. So they're too short.
Yeah.
Do you resettle her when she wakes at 40 minutes?
I've tried. Whether I bounce or rock or anything like that doesn't work. She just gets cranky.
Right. I don't want you to do any of that, Natalie. No bounce, no rocking. So when you resettle, I want you to wait 3 minutes before you go in. 3 minutes is really crucial, okay? Based in research. Then when you go in, I want you to sit by the side of the cot and just put your hands on her.
Okay.
No bouncing, no rocking, no anything.
Yeah.
No patting, nothing. When she gets very, very shouty, you can pick her up, but I prefer to keep her in the cot for at least 20 minutes when you're trying to resettle.
Okay.
And you will get her to resettle at some point. So you might need to push her a bit to get this resettle to happen. It's not going to happen just by chance. Because too often, if we go the 40 minutes and then we just get them up, or we start to intervene, we start to do some rocking and patting and shushing, we just irritate them. And then she's not going to go back to sleep.
That's exactly what I do. I irritate her. I can see it.
That's
She's
okay.
frustrated, and I'm like, oh, sorry. Okay, you don't want to sleep.
I think you might need to get me around, Natalie, to sort this out if you don't fix it in the short term. Is she exactly 5 months, or is she 5.5 months?
She'll be 5 months on Sunday.
Right. Do you have private health insurance?
Yes.
Which fund are you with?
HCF.
Unfortunately, HCF doesn't do sleep and settling services. So I've got cover from others like Bupa, NIB, etc., but not HCF.
Okay.
So that's not going to help you there, unfortunately, Natalie.
No. Let me get a pen, and I'll write down the address of the pharmacy that you're at tomorrow.
Yep. I'll just see if Selena's there while you're getting a pen. Hello, Selena. Do I have Selena here?
Yes.
Hello?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Selena. I can't see you, but I can hear you.
Can you?
I have sound.
Hang on, I'll turn the light on. It's just dark.
Okay. We've just been talking.
Can you see me now?
I can see you now, Selena. Hello.
Hello.
You can see me and hear me. Right. I'm
Yes.
just giving Basker's pharmacy address to Natalie, and I'll be with you in 2 secs, Selena.
No problem. No worries.
All right. Natalie. All right. So Basker's pharmacy. It's on just off Old South Head Road in North Bondi.
Uh-huh.
You know North Bondi?
Yes.
Yep. So it's the second turn off past the fire station. So you've got the fire station, and then you've got like a pink shop that sells girly tutu fairy things. And then it's just that turn off after that shop, okay? Karen notices landmarks by shops, okay? And then you go right, and that's Marivery Road. And then you go right to the end of the, so it's sort of in the middle of Marivery Road, and on the right-hand side of the pharmacy, it's called Basker's. It's actually 1 Mitchell Street it's on, or 1 Mitchell Road, and it's the corner of Marivery and Mitchell. And it's got like a turquoise sign saying Basker's on it.
How do I spell Rivery?
Murriverie.
Hang on, say it again.
It's Murrive.
I-E.
E-R-I-E.
E-R-I-E. Okay.
And it's corner of that and Mitchell Road. So it's right opposite a cafe called Shuk, S-H-U-K.
Uh-huh.
Now parking is a bit interesting on there, Natalie, so you just have to scoot around and see what you can find, because since this cafe opened up, the parking is a little bit less. But there is parking on Mitchell a bit further down, or just on the bit of Rivery before you get to the pharmacy. There's often parking there.
Okay.
So I'm there from 10 till 1 tomorrow.
Okay. If my husband and I share a car, so if we're not there tomorrow, then I'll try the hand on her in the cot for the week, and then try and come next week.
Absolutely. Give it at least a week, okay? So just put your hand on her, wait and see what's going to happen. Give it at least 20 minutes. If you don't do 20 minutes, it's not going to happen, okay?
Okay.
But I find after 20 minutes, if it's not happened by then, it's unlikely to happen. So it's always waiting 3 minutes before you go in. 3 minutes of constant crying.
Okay.
Sometimes they cry in between sleep cycles. Okay.
Yeah.
Now Selena, that's on the line here at the moment with us. I've been to see her and her baby today. And Selena, do you want to tell Natalie what happened with your baby today?
Okay. So the first sleep, she slept for 2 hours, and she didn't really cry that much.
Great.
The mistake. Yeah.
Ever.
She's 10 weeks old. So,
Wow.
yeah, the mistake I was making was actually staying in there with her and sort of intervening when it wasn't needed. So I simply just walked out as when I was with Karen, and she slept for 2 hours.
That's
Then the
fantastic.
she's never slept. Yeah, we had to wake her up.
Wow. Wow.
And then the second sleep, so Karen had gone. The same. She slept for 2 hours. She woke up sort of in between around that sort of 40-minute mark after the sleep cycle, but I didn't go in, whereas normally I'd go running in and checking on her. So I didn't go in. She just whimpered a bit, and then she went back to sleep for another hour. So
Wow.
yeah, so that was good. The third sleep, yeah, the third sleep was a bit more challenging. She actually woke up at the 40-minute mark, and so I tried to resettle her. Like I didn't go in. I listened to her, but after a while, she just wasn't going back to sleep. So I went in and did what Karen was just saying. I put my hand on her, and she took a while, but she did eventually go back to sleep. But then it had sort of been a while, and she was sort of coming in and out of sleep, but she didn't go back to sleep.
Does it look like it's a little bit better now?
I've just got Amy here. I was going to say hello to Amy because Amy's been trying to get on this Google Hangouts for weeks.
No worries.
I was going to say hello to Amy. Hello, Amy. You've made it.
Hello.
Hello. So I can hear you. I can't see you, but
Oh, really?
I can hear you. But at least I can hear you, Amy. We're making progress. Google Hangouts has been interesting at times.
Oh, it's frustrating.
But you've not given in.
Can you
We've just been talking about sleep. I've got Selena here. She's got a baby who's 2.5 months old, a little girl called Aria, and I've got Natalie, and she's got a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old. And we've been talking about sleep actually, and we've been talking about how to put babies off to sleep and how to resettle them. Now, your little boy Cooper, how old is Cooper now, Amy?
He's 6 months on last Friday.
Do you want to tell Natalie about how you managed to resettle Cooper and get some long sleeps out of him?
Cooper was pretty good baby to train actually. He wouldn't settle, and I was up 6-7 times a night trying to put a dummy in his mouth. So I brought Karen in, and we just
I took the dummy away.
Yeah, we took all the dummies away. Just put our hand on his chest and just let him settle, and yeah, he resettled. We just went out of the room. He escalated, we went back, but he was pretty good. But yeah, he resettled himself quite quickly, but he was pretty good baby to train.
So saying to Natalie, Amy, that a lot of the time we tend to intervene too much. We tend to jump on them and start doing things with them rather than letting them be.
Yep, there were times I was like, oh, we should go in there, but we just left him. Just let him just go and see if he'd settle himself. And they do. They eventually do.
Yeah. It's about just letting them be for a few minutes and just, 3 minutes of crying is not long. It's not going to damage any brains, Natalie, I promise. Yeah. Okay? No, and that's the longest that I leave a baby to cry for. It doesn't bother me. I know.
Yeah.
But just wait 3 minutes, and then once 3 minutes and they're still shouting, go in. Just put your hands on them, and that's all I do for resettling. I try not to take them out of the cot at all, because once you take them out, you're into trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you might get there, Natalie. Sorry, and night time, Natalie.
Yeah.
Sorry, what did you ask me? Sorry, Natalie.
Resettling at night time.
At night time.
At the moment, I put her on the boob.
Yeah. So for night time, I would actually, between 7 p.m. and midnight, you can resettle without feeding to try and help her to sleep through eventually.
7 and 12.
Right, okay. So after midnight, how many feeds does she do?
Usually 2 before
Right,
7
two's
a.m.
fine. Two's fine. I
Yeah.
think you've got to sort these days out to sort these nights out. Until
That's
you've
what I was
sorted your
thinking.
days out, your nights are not going to happen and sleeping through.
Great. But the only reason why I thought maybe there might be a difference is because my 2-year-old only ever between like maybe 6 weeks and 6 months before I put her on a routine, she never slept during the day unless she was on me.
Yeah.
And even then it would be short sleeps. But she was sleeping through the night 7 to 7 from 8 weeks. So I was thinking, well, if she was hopeless at day sleeps, then but totally awesome at night.
I think most babies can be helped, Natalie, with sorting out their day sleeps. I think that's going to be your key.
Yeah.
I think come and see me tomorrow at Basker's, and then we'll have a look and see what's happening with weight and development. I can tell a lot just by, weighing and measuring and just checking them over.
Yeah, great. I'll hopefully be able to.
And if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll maybe see you in a week's time.
Yeah, definitely.
That sound cool?
Definitely in a week's time. We also see a cranial osteopath.
Okay.
Every second Wednesday. So, yeah.
But sometimes unless I actually see them, it's really hard for me to fix it.
Of course.
All right?
Yeah.
So, I was going to be doing a little bit on gender differences with babies tonight. So, what were you wanting to know about babies and gender with boys and girls? Because I know that Amy's got a boy. You've got 2 girls, Natalie, and Selena's got a boy and a girl. Okay.
Great.
So I thought I'd do a little bit of that, and then if there's any time left at the end, we can do some more questions. How does that sound? Yep. What I'm doing with these Google Hangouts?
You can't see.
I can't see you still,
But
Amy.
you can see me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can see you 3 girls, but yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah. I can't see.
You see?
No, I can't
Can you all see each
I
other?
can just see Amy's picture.
Yeah, I can see my
Amy,
picture
but
too.
I can see her picture.
Can you see Selena?
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah.
She's in semi-darkness, but she's there.
I'm a bit in the dark.
She's in the dark. That's all right.
All right.
All right, so I'm just going to go through a little bit of like gender and babies, because it's really quite fascinating stuff. For me, gender has always really quite interested me, but it's only when my partner Steve said to me, "Do you only see boys, Karen?" I said, "What do you mean, Steve? What do I see boys?" He goes, "No, you see more boys than girls for sleep problems and behaviour problems." I really thought about it and I thought, I think, yeah, I do. So I started reading around gender, and now I know why I see more boys than girls. But it's not to say that girls don't have problems with sleep, because they do. And you've been talking about your little girls, Natalie, and Celine's got a little girl called Aria. And I do see girls that have got very strong temperaments with sleep, because they try and, get parents to do certain things. So I do see some quite assertive girls. But when we look at babies' brains and how they're actually made and what they actually need emotionally and physically, it's really quite interesting. And the stats with boys is not very good when it comes to premature babies, and when it comes to sort of mortality rates with childhood as well. And we know that premature babies, if you've got a boy premature baby, their chance of survival is a lot less than what it is if you've got a girl premature baby, and it's probably about 50% less, we think. So we always know, and I've worked a lot in special care baby units as a midwife and a nurse, and whenever we had a girl that was born early, we'd think, oh, that's really good, because she's more likely to survive and do really well. Whereas a boy, we're always worried about them. A lot of it's to do with how their brain is developed, but also their whole body is quite immature in relation, and their lungs in relation to what girl babies are. And I think boys are at a disadvantage early on, but if we look after them right, we can make everything right and get them to catch up with where girls are. Now, don't worry for those of you that have got boys. We can do certain things to make things better for them. Now, we know that boy babies respond better in the early years. I'm talking 0 to 6 years here. So we divide childhood into 0 to 6 years, 6 to 14 years, and 14 years plus. Now, I've got a degree in psychology, so I look at things from a completely different perspective than most nurses, and I'm very interested in differences, behaviour, and just what it means for health and emotional and physical health. So we know that boys need more love than girls, okay? I was talking to Celine today about this. I can look at my nieces and nephews, and my nephew needs so much more love than what my nieces have ever needed. Whenever I went round to see my sister-in-law, Jack would always be in the arms, never in the cot. And I used to think at some point, you know, does he actually know what his cot looks like? But now I look at Jack and he's 21, and he's got so much emotional intelligence, and he really wears his heart on his sleeve, and I think my sister-in-law really gave him that. So boys need a lot of warmth and a lot of love and lots of cuddles. I know that mums of little boys will say this a lot. Now, do you find that Cooper is like that, Amy? Does he need lots of love and cuddles?
Yeah, definitely now, like the last couple of weeks, I guess, and especially since he's had his needles, he's very, like, clingy and wants to be cuddled, and we've just noticed a massive difference.
Yeah. And he's getting towards 6 months now, so 6 to 8 months. Boys are more affected by separation anxiety. Now, the way the brain is actually formed, they hate it when you leave the room, they hate it when you walk away from them. You notice that's happening with him?
Yep. It's exactly what's happening with him at the moment. Yep, as soon as we leave the room, Sookie, you know, like, and then he'll know exactly where you've been, and he'll watch that spot when you come back.
Yeah. And Selena, did you notice that with Max when he was little?
Yeah, definitely. He always wanted to know where I was. Yeah. Even now, he's the same. He's 5, but he always wants my attention.
We tend to think that we shouldn't give to them because we're going to make them soft. We're going to make them sucky lala. Yeah? That is not the case, okay? So by actually giving ourselves to them and reassuring them and saying, look, I'm still here, but I'm busy doing this, and going back to them every now and again, because we have things to do. We can't just sit there and just be there every whim, even though we'd love to.
Yeah.
So it's just important to acknowledge and go, look, I'm still here, I've not gone anywhere, and I'll be back in a minute or two, and keep on doing that. That's really important to do, to acknowledge. Now, boys tend to have more issues with behaviour, and we know that impulse control is a big issue with boys. And if we don't manage those early years, that's when we get impulse problems with car stealing, hooning, drug use, things like risky behaviour. I know that when I went to Manchester, I used to get 3-year-olds setting fire to their curtains and things like that, which is a bit scary to think about. But if you haven't had your needs met and emotionally been given to by your parent, whether it's your mum or your dad, then things are going to escalate out of control till you get to those awful things happening. But the key thing is with gender, girls are not really an issue till with their parents and with how they are with boundaries till they get to be teenage years, as we probably know. But how you manage behaviour now is going to have a big impact on later on. I do toddler behaviour as well as doing sleep, so I'm probably more known for my sleep work. I can hear a baby crying. Who's that baby?
That's Cooper. Just hit himself in the head.
Oh, poor Cooper. You know, girls and boys, you have to give them good role models. Boys need really good role models as they get to be teenagers. They need to have a figure to look up to. So if say someone's a single parent, or they don't have any males within their family to help parent these boys, we need to find role models for them. So we need to look at things like scouts, things like football, sports, to find those role models elsewhere in the community, and that is really crucial. So certainly from the age of 6 to 14, that age is so vital with providing role models for them. Now girls, they like to be little mums from early on, and we need to teach them how to do empathy, and empathy is something that we can give children on both genders equally by doing things like make-believe play, playing house, getting them to make your little pretend cup of tea with the teapot and the cup and everything, telling them that you're cold and you need a blankie, and making them aware of other people's needs. So that's really vital, and both genders need that. But when you look at boys and their brains compared to girls' brains, girls are more sociable, girls are more outgoing, and it's because of how their brains are formed. Now they've got every brain's got 2 hemispheres, your left and your right hemisphere. And it's joined together with this little this membrane, this connection thing called the corpus callosum. And unless you teach that left side and that right side to connect, it's never going to become properly mature. So we can do things like baby brain gym, and I've got a YouTube video on how to connect both your hemispheres together and how to get it all communicating. But with boys, their neurons don't move from this side to this side to connect things together, so it's to do with your logical and your emotion stuff is not connecting together properly. And until they get to about the age of 6, those neurons are not developing properly. And so no matter sometimes how much we try and make them emotionally mature, it's not going to happen until physically it's able to happen, okay? It's about how we manage tantrums. It's about how we manage behaviour and sort of outbursts of anger that we acknowledge and we give words for it. I've just been putting together a YouTube video today about how to manage tantrums. So how we acknowledge these overwhelming emotions, so important. How we manage new siblings as well. Imagine what it's like for babies, and particularly boys, when a new little baby comes into the house and they look like they've been replaced. Boys definitely cope less well with it. Girls tend to do a lot better. So your little girls, Natalie, how did they cope when a new baby came?
Fantastic. They are absolutely incredible. They have so much love for each other.
There's no rivalry stuff. There's just lots of mothering.
Oh, it's just love all around. Like it makes me want to cry every time I see them look at each other because they're just so
cute together.
Yeah, it's adorable. It's so beautiful.
What have you noticed, Selena, with Max and Aria?
He became very angry at first. Even though we thought we'd prepared him, he did not cope with that sudden, all the attention's away. He'd had all our attention for 5 years, so he had to deal with some of those emotions. Now he adores her, but he still struggles, more than what my friends that have girls would,
Yeah, so it fits in with that 0 to 6 year thing, doesn't it? And just where they are emotionally. It's huge. Yeah, I think boys feel like they've been replaced. I feel, they can't cope with that attention being taken away from them because they need so much, whereas girls are so much easier and cope with new additions to families a lot better on the whole. Yeah. Now, looking at things like gross motor skills, there's fascinating differences between the genders as well. And you probably know this, Selena, because you're an OT. But boys, their gross motor stuff... Sorry, you're an OT as well? No way, I've got 2 OTs here today.
Wow.
I like it. A lot of my clients are health professionals and psychologists. I'm not surprised by this, Natalie. Are you an OT with children or with adults?
Yeah, with kids, yeah.
So you'll know this, right. So we find boys, their gross motor skills come first, whereas girls, their fine motor skills come first. And they are a little bit in the lazy department when it comes to crawling and walking. And as a nurse, I've certainly seen this. That I've had to encourage them with how it's all fours crawling. They haven't wanted to do it. Yeah. I can even look at myself, and I was definitely in the lazy department as a child. I wasn't walking until I was 18 months.
Wow.
But I know, I'd be classed as delayed nowadays, I know. Which is why I don't worry too much about children and walking and stuff, because I know if you do the right exercises, if you teach them and you're preemptive, it will happen, but it needs to be taught as development. Exactly. It's not going to happen by chance. I've got a heap of YouTube videos on development stuff, which I've shown Celine today. So I've got the rolling over stuff, I've got the sitting unsupported, I've got crawling, etc. So as a nurse, I wanted to really sort of promote and help development. And so I started off doing these crazy YouTube videos that I thought nobody would watch, but they do. So there's stuff on there that you can point your clients to have a little look at if you want to. Yeah. But certainly gross motor skills better in boys. So Cooper will be really great at crawling, Amy. He'll be an early walker, but yet his fine motor skills, things like your pincer, so on, they will be delayed. We know as well that boys, they're often not ready to go to school when they're 5, and sometimes delaying boys by a year can be helpful. If, say, you've got a boy who isn't great at communication, and a lot of boys are not, and their language is often delayed as well, and a lot of it is down to this left and right brain sort of this stuff that's not connecting. But boys sometimes, if they're not able to talk properly, they're not able to do their fine motor skills so they can't hold a pencil properly, they're going to struggle at school. And if they're not able to do those skills, they're likely to be angry, be embarrassed, and not want to learn. So we know that with clustering problems, that boys will have 5 times as many issues with school and adjustment than what girls have. And they're huge sort of stats. It's how we look at promoting all those skills with learning with going to school. Now, I've also written 3 blogs on school readiness. It's on my website. And on those blogs, there's a heap of gold on there. And so I wrote 3 blogs on how to get your child ready for school. I worked as a practice nurse for about a year and a half in Alexandria, and I was doing 4-year-old assessments. And I noticed that boys, their fine motor, their drawing skills was really, really poor compared to girls. I also find, do you find that as well, Natalie? And I know me and Selena talked about this morning. Yeah. So we need to promote those fine motor skills. So things like finger foods, baby-led weaning, really important. Looking at things like ball skills, getting them used to tracking and following balls from an early age, really important. So working on things like hand-eye coordination. Definitely working on things that promote your fine motor. So things like building blocks, Duplo, as they get older, threading beads, holding chunky crayons around 18 months. All those things really important. But I'd say probably finger foods are the things that need to be started from 6 to 12 months, and self-feeding, giving them the spoon. I think not enough of that happens. But I know Cooper, he's on finger foods, is he, Amy? If he started on the finger food direction?
Yeah, definitely. Loves his food now. He's the banana's a bit of a messy thing, but he's he liked the cucumber strips, and we just put he loves mango. We put mango in a little mushy thing where he holds and he sucks it, and he really likes that. Loves yogurt, and
See, Natalie,
sorry, is that normal though? He's starting to go off his milk though. Like he's not drinking much at all.
Yeah. Milk becomes less important after 6 months because they're taking more food, and food's more important for brain development. So they need to have about 3 milk feeds a day.
He's having 3, but he's just really struggling with them now. Is
he having 500? Is he having 500 mils or so, Amy, or?
Oh, we make up 250 ml bottles 3 times a day.
He's having heaps, love. He needs to have between 500 and 750 a day, but no more than 750. So if he's having 500, I'd be happy with that. If he's having some yogurt and some cheese.
Oh, can he have cheese?
Yeah. He can have grated cheese in his food. He can have butter. He can have cream. They need calorie-dense food from 6 to 8 months, certainly, and 6 to 12 months, I would say, for the activity they do. If we don't give them enough...
You don't recommend, the cheese sticks things?
I'm not too big a fan of them, but some kids like them. I prefer to put grated cheese into the food, or you can just get some mild cheddar and let him chew away on that.
Okay, we just noticed with these bottles, he's, he'll probably drink up to 150, most 200 of his bottle, like.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. He's having enough, Amy. As long as he's having 3 servings of dairy a day, and a serving of dairy is a matchbox size of cheese, a small tub of full-fat yogurt, or it's a breastfeed or a bottle feed. So don't worry about the amount. He's having heaps. If anything, I'd say too much dairy is an issue, and I see kids having up to 6 bottles of milk at 10 months old. Oh my goodness, lordy. And then they're not eating their food, and then we've got a sleep problem. So milk, I think we put too much importance on milk after 6 months. It's important, yes.
He's probably only drunk 100 now, like. Yeah.
Don't worry, go by him.
Yeah, okay then.
Go by Cooper. We all worry about it, and we all think we should be having more, but let him tell you what he wants. As long as he's having at least 3 servings of dairy, and it's those amounts of foods, Amy, he's doing fine. He really is. We need to look at calcium and other things as well. We look at things like green veggies, and we look at things like tahini and hummus and all those other things. Dried apricots, they have lots of calcium in, so we look at sardines on toast. There's other ways that you can give calcium. So we get really obsessed about dairy and milk, and we need to look at other things in the diet as well. Does that help?
Yeah. Yeah, very, very.
But fine motor skills. I'm I'm going to do a video this week for you all, and it's on a baby eating a chicken drumsticks. The baby that I put on Facebook on Saturday with the chicken drumsticks, I ate 2 of them, who's never eaten chicken drumsticks in his life before. I actually videoed him. And I want to help us move babies onto meat early and just get them used to getting things in their hands. Really, really important. And it also helps with relationship building, and they'll actually eat more food if you let them feed themselves and take control of the meal. And iron is so important after 6 months of age. So we need to look at things like iron-rich foods. And again, I've got some information on a blog about that. But there's also heaps on YouTube as well about finger foods, baby-led weaning. I've done lots of stuff on all of that. So just knock yourselves out on all that information. Now, what else do you want to know about gender and boys and girls? Have I given you?
Probably more question to the other girls because they've got a bit older kids than Cooper. Did you notice a difference once they had their 6-month needles? Because we've noticed a difference in Cooper the last few days. Like, just, yeah, total different. Like, he's still a really good baby, but just more needy, a bit more sooky. Yeah. I just thought maybe since the needles that he just changed, or I don't know.
I think it's separation anxiety stuff. I think it's this boy stuff with separation anxiety is my feeling. But Selena, what do you think? Do you notice with Max that he got more sucky around 6 months? Did it start straight away, or? I've still got Selena here. Hello, Selena. Nope, I think we've lost Selena. She heard me. I think it's more the 6 to 8 month thing, Amy. I don't think it's the needles. I think needles are just separate. Okay. We sometimes.
He did develop a fever.
Right.
He had him Saturday morning, and we went out Saturday. Probably the heat too, but we had him covered, sunscreen. We had done all that, and come home he was quite grizzly. So we just give him some Nurofen. He felt quite hot, and shower, and we were just, me being first time mum as well, I was a bit like, oh, maybe we shouldn't have had him in the sun, you know.
Yeah.
What did we do wrong? But then it could have been the needles. They often say, you know, they'll get a fever after their needles. And 10:30 that night, he was sweating, he was hot, he was just grizzly. So, yeah, just hard with the first time mum. You just don't know what to do, and you just try so many different things. And he just wanted comfort. Like, he's picked him up. Obviously, his legs were sore from where the needles were, because every time we picked him up or moved him, he'd have a sook. But he just wanted comfort, just wanted to be. So I let him lay on me all night. You know, at 5 o'clock, I put him back in his cot, and he slept till 8 o'clock. So I just.
How's it today, Amy? Is he better today? Is he feeling more himself?
Sunday, he was quite happy. He was happy in the morning, and then it almost like he'd spiked again. It was a bit hot in the afternoon, so cool bath, cold shower. Just tried everything, and yesterday he seemed fine. So he's back to his normal self. He's all happy and happy and all that. So.
I think with immunisations, you know, the body does react, and babies do react to them. And I think if you look at when babies do get a reaction, it's actually quite a positive thing, even though it's not nice for the baby at the time, because it means their immune system's, you know, reacted to the vaccine, which means it's actually taken it up. So I'd look at it as a positive thing, even though it's not nice. I know.
Okay, because we were always just like, what have we done wrong? You know, I thought we shouldn't have took him out all day, but he enjoyed it. Like, he was happy all day until the afternoon, night. It must have started to hit him. Like,
isn't it interesting though how mums always think, what have I done wrong?
Yeah, definitely.
Do you think Dad's
because he's 4 months old. Oh, I think Andy's might be a bit the same. This and that. I think we overthink things, like situations. Yeah. We overthink the situation, and we're like, but it could be just nothing. Like, just read a lot to think how we do.
I think there's so much information out there, Amy. There's information overload, and it is really hard to to sort of sift through it and work out what is right and what isn't. Hello, Louise. Louise, we have Louise here as well.
Sorry.
We have four numbers here tonight. We're doing very well. I've got Selena, I've got Natalie, I've got Amy, and I've got Louise. And Louise has a little boy called Ace, who is now 9 months, is he, Louise?
Coming up to 10 months.
Nearly 10 months now, wow. So we've just been talking about babies and immunisations, because Cooper just had his immunisations, and at 6 months, and he was a bit sucky, and he was a bit hot and bothered at the weekend, and his leg was a bit sore. And Amy was just saying that we always think that we've done something. We took him out in the sun. It was too hot. We shouldn't have done this. We shouldn't have done that. But sometimes it's just their body, the way it reacts to immunisations. And so it's interesting how we always blame ourselves, and we think we've done something to cause it, and isn't it?
Yeah, Mummy's
How is
guilt.
Ace? Yes, Mummy's guilt.
Good. He had a rough night last night, but he's okay.
He's all right. Good.
Yeah, I think he's having a wonder week at the moment, so something fantastic is going to happen soon, I think.
Exciting.
Yeah.
We've just been talking about gender and boys and girls tonight, Louise, and just about how boys are different to girls, and just emotionally, and why it is, and their hemispheres are just not connecting together, and that causes a lot of issues with both the emotional stuff and with their gross motor stuff as well, and fine motor. But we're saying that their fine motor stuff is often quite delayed. Boys are often delayed with their language as well, but they do catch up eventually. But it's so important that we give lots of time to moving their development on, and the emotional stuff as well. So do you notice with Ace that is quite a clingy baby compared to some baby girls that you might know?
He's very clingy, yeah, very clingy. But his language is quite good because he's not crawling yet. So, but he is very clingy, yeah.
Yeah, do you notice around 6 to 8 months he went through big separation anxiety stuff?
Yeah, about 8 months he went through it. He was really, really clingy just all the time, And even if he hears a loud noise, like he'll grab me and squeeze my neck, like a really loud truck or something.
In extreme situations and social situations. They're not very good in social situations where there's big groups.
Yeah.
Whereas the girl babies, do you find the girl babies, Natalie, that you're, and probably you'll find this with Aria as well, Selena, but boys are not so good in big situations. They feel a bit overwhelmed.
My daughter's just...
Whereas your girls, Natalie, are they very sociable and love people?
My daughter's the 2-year-old, she's very sociable with adults as long as they give her time. But she's been clingy from the word go. And she's not very sociable with other kids. She's she just wants to sit on my lap and be on.
So they're both different. These are the girls, both different.
Yeah.
So I think yes, you can look at gender and stuff.
Because being an OT and knowing development, I know that she's developed in so many other areas, and she's always been like this, and she just needs that little bit of extra TLC, and that's fine because I know that one day she's going to turn around and be like, "Mom, go away."
Absolutely. I think it's just about letting children be who they are, isn't it? I think too often with gender as well, we tend to put them into this group or that group. But we need to look at temperament as well, and just we're all different. And I think it's about just respecting those differences and allowing for them. And
she's very much a bystander sort of personality. She likes to understand what's going on before she approaches situations. So
she's probably very wise doing that. I think too many of us just jump in there. I think if the world was full of extroverts, we'd never achieve anything in life.
Yes, exactly. And she's got a big fear of boys at the moment, and I think it's because
she's got a big fear of boys.
Fast. Yeah, I think because they're fast and loud and strong.
So. Oh, they're just like these whirling just bundles of energy that are just like it's just exploding all the time, aren't they?
And they pull her headbands, they pull her clips, they pull her hair, they pull her elastics. So they're scary and they hurt me. So
yeah, she's learning yoga. So just imagine, girls, Ace and Cooper could be like this, could be pulling girls' hairbands and things like that.
That's right.
Gonna protect the girls out there.
Cooper puts his arms out now to our friends' girls, and I'm like, watch it, he'll pull your hair, and he pulls her hair, and it's like, don't get in his face then, but he's just learning to grab things, like, because he's at that age, and I'm like, I just let him go do it, because he'll grab your hair and you'll cry.
It's very normal, like, if a girl has something pretty in her hair, then somebody else, whether it's a boy or a girl, is attracted to it.
Oh,
and they want to see
totally.
what it is, so they go for it.
Yeah, they're curious.
It makes sense. Yeah, exactly.
Children
It's funny
learning
'cause-
about their environment and just what they can do and what they can't, and just,
That's it.
Mm.
My girlfriend, she's got 2 girls, a 2-year-old and an 8-year-old, and so we talk and sort of I ask her questions and that because she helps me, but I think her girls are a lot different to Cooper. Like, he's a different natured kind of boy, but they're always like, oh, get used to this. You've got 2 years of teething and this and that. And I'm like, oh, but Cooper might be different. Like, it's hard. Like, I come home and I'll worry, oh, she said this and she said that, and will it happen to us? But he could be totally different. As, like you're saying, girls are different to boys.
Yep.
So, and her girls
we're all
are
different personalities, aren't we? We're all different. And I think to sort of like to package people into certain areas, I think we miss out a lot from doing that, really. To say, you can't really say boys are all like this, girls are all like this. I think, but there are some very interesting sort of differences with development with their brains, which I find really, really fascinating. But eventually they all catch up. But it's just knowing that, you know, you've got to always be there for boys, and that's really, really important, that we don't ever lose sight of their emotional stuff and being very touchy-feely with them. But I think with girls as well, I think we're learning nowadays that, you know, we've got to let children experience emotions and be there for them and stuff, and not tell them to shut up and stop crying. I think we've done lots of damage with doing that in the past, where we don't allow kids to vent and just say how they're feeling, but always be there for them and just be available and be there to listen to them. And we are their teachers, we are their guides, and I find kids just really, really fascinating. And being a niece to these 4 amazing, an auntie to these 4 amazing nieces and nephews, I've just really enjoyed watching them grow up and see how they evolve. And my niece, my oldest niece, she's now going to be a mum herself, which I'm going to be a great auntie, which I find really quite overwhelming at the moment, but I'm getting around the idea. She decided when my sister had her kids at 39 that she was not going to be an older mum, because she just saw how exhausted my sister was and decided it was a really bad thing to do. And so she actually planned her child at 23, which I think is really quite interesting. And she's very grown up. She's bought a house with her boyfriend. She has a job. She works in childcare. She's an assistant director of a childcare centre. So hopefully Gemma won't need me. Hopefully she'll be able to. She's very sensible, is Gemma. You know, she's just very grounded, but she's had a wild side to her in her teens. But maybe now she's ready to do this thing, and But yeah, I find my job that I do just really, really interesting, and I love meeting all these different babies and children and their parents, and just interesting life. So anything else you want to ask me? Anything else you want to say about your babies and their development, or gender, or anything?
I'm just more food. Like, we're just trying different food now. Recommendations, like, he loves mango, he likes yogurt.
And I can see you, Amy. Do you know I can see you?
I know. I was like, oh, who's that bad head?
No, I can see you. Amy aside for how many weeks, Amy, to join this?
Oh my God, weeks.
3 weeks, 4 weeks.
I was doing the video call and I was like, oh, I'm calling her, so I ended the call, but that's actually how you do it.
You do. You see, you never gave up, Amy. I like that your determination, girl.
I just thought, oh,
some people have tonight. It's too hard. And others have gone, oh, it's really easy, Karen. Then I've thought, is it easy? Is it hard? What is it? Have all of you found it hard, easy, or?
Hard, but I'm not tech savvy.
That's okay. Louise, how have you found it? Hard or easy?
The Google? Easy.
Easy.
Very easy. I did it within 5 minutes.
Okay. And Natalie, easy?
I tried to do it on the laptop and it wasn't working. So
Okay.
I just jumped on my phone and it was a piece of cake.
Isn't it interesting how different devices, and I know the iPad, you can't turn on the group chat and stuff on the side so easy? Anyway, because you can either do group chat or we can do Q&A, and probably when I do bigger Google Hangouts, I'll probably move to, oh, I've got Cooper here, I can see Cooper. Can you all see Cooper?
No. Hello.
Oh, so cute. Let's put him on the main screen, see if you can see him. Can you all see him now?
Hi.
Can you see Cooper?
Cooper, don't look at Mummy.
Hello, Cooper. He says, I love my mum. I love my mum so much. He says, I'm live on Google Hangouts. I have made it to the internet, says Cooper. How cute.
We're talking about you. Come on.
Smooching with Mummy. Smooching.
He's shy.
He's usually in bed by now. It's surprising.
Did you see Cooper then, all of you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you saw Cooper.
Yeah.
Oh, he's kissing Mummy. So, so Celine, did you find Google Hangouts easy? Did you find joining it easy?
Yeah, it was. It just disconnected me, but I think it was the internet connection.
Right. What I sometimes
I
do.
signed up easy, but then I couldn't work it out. Like, that's why all my comments, I kept saying, "Can you see this? How do I do it?" But then I realised, yeah, cool.
Yeah. So I'm actually recording this one tonight. I'm going to put it onto YouTube. Are you all happy with that if I do that? I'm going to obviously edit the first bit when nobody was here, because otherwise I'm just sat there going, nobody here, nobody here, nobody here. But I'll put this onto YouTube if you're all happy with that. Some of them I've actually locked because there's too much good information in them that I don't want everybody to know some stuff. So is that naughty of me? Probably. Anyway. But I think it's a really good format to do with Google Hangouts, and I think in the future I think it's going to be really, really huge. And I think for interstate, for overseas, for rural areas, I can see a real purpose of this. And I think to bring parents together where you can ask each other questions and how was this for you? How was that for you? I think each time I'll try and do some sort of topic. But what I'm going to do is when people have signed up for this, you can set the questions. You can set the agenda each week. I've got my naughty cat up on the chest of drawers at the moment, destroying everything. Oh, my goodness me. So I can sort children out. I can't sort my cat out. I heard this noise. I thought,
Crazy cat lady.
Oh, today I was in Selena's house and her cat jumped up on the couch behind me and made me jump a mile. I was like, oh! So me and cat today. Can you see my cat behind there up on the chest of drawers? Yeah, that's my cat called Susie, and she's very, very cheeky. Anyway, so I'm just going back to Google Hangouts. So in the future, when people subscribe to this, you can set the agenda each week. You can tell me what things you want to know about, and you can send me the questions in as well. So it's not me running the show; you actually run the show yourselves. So I think that's really a really powerful and interesting thing to do. So I think I know a lot of stuff, but I want you to tell me what you need to know, and we can have interesting discussions about it. It's not me sat here talking at you. It's me chatting with you, and you chatting with me, and chatting with each other. That sound pretty all right?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And then come February, I'm going to be doing some really huge stuff, and working in very different ways. But I'll probably be blogging about it, writing about it on the Facebook page and stuff as things change. But Google Hangouts, I think, is here to stay. I'm determined to make this work because I can see the real benefit of it for everybody. And I'm so glad you've joined me tonight, peoples. It's been really cool.
So glad I worked it out.
I am so pleased, Amy. I'm so pleased. So what I'll do is I'm going to send out a group email this week just telling you how it's going to work from November onwards, and if you want to subscribe to it, I'm keeping it low cost. You also get 5 emails and 2 phone calls included. I've priced it really low at $150, and you get Google Hangouts each week, and I'm limiting this to 20 people, because obviously I can't have more than 20. It would be an impersonal thing. But I doubt each week that 20 people are actually going to turn up. I might get 10, I might get, whatever. I think more people will probably be interested in email and phone service that it's actually, you know, a really low cost till February. So that's the way I'm going. So nurture parenting it's moving to new things, exciting things, but I'm still here. I'm going nowhere, but just working a different way. And I've got some new staff starting. I've got Michelle and I've got Steph, and I'll let you know all about them soon. And I'm very, very excited. So I think we'll say good night for tonight, and hopefully you'll join me next week. And yay, Amy, you've made it. And bye, Louise. And bye, Natalie. Bye, Selena. I'm just so pleased that Amy has turned up and she's found it, because I was getting so worried, thinking, how can I help Amy with this Google Hangout? You did it, girl. So proud of you. And hopefully we'll hang out soon on Google Hangouts, and enjoy the rest of your week, ladies. And we'll talk soon. All right. Bye. Bye, people.
Bye.
Bye.